if they were coming or whatever. Anyway, the guy said, I don't care how many fish sticks it takes. I'm getting off. Oh, hey.
Hello.
So, how are you? You're you again.
Me again. What's up?
We're just waiting for Roman so we can get this thing started.
Thing started. Like the Black Eyed Peas.
Yep.
Yup.
Yeah. Is that coming from you?
What?
And the voices?
It's outside my door, yeah. Is it loud?
No, it sounded like Roman and it sounded weird.
Roman's in my house.
The voices are coming from inside the house.
The call is coming from inside the house.
Yeah. A movie that shouldn't have been remade because it's terribly useless nowadays. There he is. Connected to audio.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes.
What? Okay, cool. Are we doing this?
It's so dark. We're doing it. Like the Black Eyed Peas. Wait. No, that's not right.
All
What are you
right.
doing?
What do you guys have?
Running.
Candles?
Running.
I got my candle.
All right. That's not a candle.
That's water.
Vasa.
I had to buy a candle. Ah!
I took a scented candle from our bathroom.
I'm not allowed to have scented candles anymore.
Well, I mean, you can. It's just not going to be good for you.
No, it's not.
Really?
Yeah.
She's
My
allergic.
allergies are getting worse in my old age.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go ahead and light this
I was
candle.
agreeing with you because it's
No, you made it sound like it was yummy or something.
Well, I mean, this wine is yummy, so I was just getting into the...
Roman and I are drinking water.
Yeah.
I got to drink when I'm with you guys.
Wow.
You sound like half of the women I've been with.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I can't see your lighter. I
Yeah,
mean,
your candle's not there.
your candle, it won't work if your candle isn't raised up.
Okay. All right, 10-4. Hold on.
10-4.
Mine's on my
Better?
That's fine. Yeah, that's better.
I
Because
can
then
get it.
we don't know if it's gonna go out or not.
Mine's just super tall.
All
All right.
right.
Well, before we lose all of our viewers, what are we doing?
Well, if it isn't obvious to the people who have seen it already, we are doing our review on the Shudder exclusive movie, Host.
Not to be confused with The Host.
Yeah.
Directed by the Oscar winner from last year's Oscars.
Yes.
Exactly.
No, Host.
Halfway in the film, I was waiting for a monster. I'm like, wait a second. They roped me again. Son of a...
Womp.
That's why I either call it Host 2020 or Shudder's Host. But
Okay.
for these purposes, it's just Host.
Okay.
So it's exclusive to Shudder. I don't know what it's rated. It's probably rated R because there's some pretty cool effects and there's some pretty tense scenes. Let's go around the room. What'd you guys think about it? Or what do you have to say about it?
Well, should we give the premise first?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, obviously, we're not going to give any spoilers away.
No.
Because it's a brand new movie. The only people who can see it are people who have access to Shudder. It's not mainstream yet. So it's called Host, as in the host of... I have a lot of air coming out and messing with my candle. As in the host of a Zoom meeting. So the entire movie is done on Zoom, just like we do our Zoom casts. And they're all in quarantine. So it's basically happening nowadays. And the main girl gets all of her friends together through Zoom to do a seance. So she has this lady come in and do a seance, and they just want to communicate with dead loved ones. And shenanigans happen.
Shenanigans.
It's basically the new found footage movie.
Yeah.
It's very similar to if you've seen Unfriended. and unfriended the dark web with a little mix of Paranormal Activity and a mix of Blair Witch Project. That's what I thought.
And it really utilizes the features of Zoom. Like if you've been using Zoom, you notice things that are Zoom specific. And
yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But overall, I'll start since I already started talking and yapping my mouth off. I didn't know much about this movie. I read one little thing on it that it was on Facebook, one of those like scrolling things, and they're like, oh, Shudder's new movie host is getting rave reviews. And I'm like, oh, a horror movie, okay. And I read about what it was, and I was like, well, this sounds kind of interesting. And I know people were doing a lot of other reviews. I didn't watch any of the reviews, so I didn't really know the premise, any more than the premise of the movie. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Were there flaws in the movie? Sure. But it was a delightful surprise. And after I watched the movie, I watched it with Adam. And then after I watched the movie, a couple days later, I watched it again with someone who hates horror movies, and he actually enjoyed it. And then I started doing a little bit more research on the movie, and I had a little bit more respect on the movie because of how they did it. They never met with the director once. All the people that were hired as the actors, they had to set up their cameras, they had to set up their lights in their own room, they had to deal with a stunt coordinator. They had to do everything themselves because of quarantine. And I had to give them a little bit of credit for that, because I'm assuming that's kind of difficult, especially a horror movie where you have jump scares and things, that are supposed to mess with people's minds. And to do that yourself, I got to give you a lot of credit for that. Overall, I thought it was a spooky movie, and I enjoyed it. I have a couple of flaws that we can talk about later, but overall, I guess I would just say I was delightfully surprised.
Awesome.
Okay. I'll go next, and then we'll go with Adam to tie it all in, and then we'll talk a little bit more. I agree with Allison in terms of I was surprised by the film. I was literally told by my two counterparts, hey, you need to get Shudder and you need to watch this movie. Okay, great. So I got the free 7-day trial for Shudder just because I don't see enough justifiable reasons to have Shudder currently, but that's just me. I love horror movies, and that's another conversation for another day. But if
we
you
still
guys
don't believe that.
If you guys are familiar with the movie Searching, if you're familiar with, of course, Allison touched on Unfriended and Unfriended 2. Those were the two movies that came to mind when I was watching it. The movie Host, I thought for the most part it was a very good film. I thought it was very interesting. I thought it was very thought-provoking. I thought it was paced very well. It takes a story that you basically know for the most part, but it turns it on its side. It was interesting how they did it with the backdrop of everyone's quarantine. That's a storyline that I think is going to be ushered in for years and years and years to come. So get used to it, guys. I thought for the most part it was a fun-ish film. I did enjoy it, and I believe my wife and I are going to be watching it tonight. So that should be fun. But yeah, that's my take. Really riveting stuff. Adam, what do you think?
Well, when I first saw the thing for it, I saw it on it was a blurb on Twitter from Shudder, and they're like, oh, it's getting 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, well, you gave The Conjuring higher than that, and the Conjuring's garbage to me. So I didn't really put a lot of faith in it, but I did want to see it because it's a Shudder exclusive, and I really like the Shudder exclusives that's been coming out. And I really like the idea of it being all on Zoom. It's kind of like a new, especially for us being old people, we don't know like face filters and that kind of stuff, and that kind of threw us off a little bit when we watched it, and then we kind of got the idea of it. Especially the mask scene, that was really cool. And I also don't like jump scares. I think jump scares are a cheap way to throw in scary parts of a horror movie. but this movie needed the jump scares. It made the movie exactly what it needed to be, and it was they were good. They got me. They got me quite a few times, and I really enjoyed myself. And even a couple of the funny moments, the food delivery and that kind of stuff. I mean, that all kind of brings it together of the whole thing that we're going through on quarantine. I mean, all of us here, well, I don't know about Roman because he's a old-fashioned person, but I know at least me and Allison get food deliveries quite often. And I actually thought about getting one during this thing just for the movie, but I didn't. I really enjoyed this movie. I haven't watched it a second time, and I probably will. It kind of affected me. I had to make sure my doors were locked and everything, even though it's a ghost story. Ghosts can't get through locks, but I mean, little things get to you sometimes. And my light just went out. Anyway, little things get to you sometimes, and it doesn't. It kind of sticks with you. So I don't know. Sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes it's a bad thing. But I really enjoyed this movie. So there we go.
Yeah, going back to the jump scares and the delivery scene. So real quick, without like giving away anything, the seance lady, they hear a knock and they're like, oh, and then she's like, oh, spirits, if anybody's there, knock again, and it knocks again, and they're like, oh, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, guys, I forgot my delivery guy's here. And it was like that they were making fun of the obvious cliche horror jump scares and silly things. And I liked that. A lot of the jump scares the reason I don't like them is because they're so cliche. And you see them coming a mile away. And a lot of them in this movie that you thought was going to be a jump scare cliche, you're like, oh, here she goes going down the dark hallway with the Zoom thing. But they didn't make it a jump scare. It was like, we know you think it's going to be a jump scare and we have more respect for you, so you're not going to do that. So a lot of the jump scares were unexpected and they did get me. I was impressed. I was impressed by a lot of that. A lot of people are giving the movie crap because they say that it's unrealistic that you're walking around with your laptop or your cell phone or whatever when you're searching for not searching for ghosts, but when you hear creepy things. Okay, get over it. It's a movie. What did you want them to do? Just sit it and just, you know what I mean? Like, you got to let go to some things.
Suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, I mean, yes, they were walking around with their laptop or their phone, but how else were you going to see what was happening? Obviously the pandemic aspect of this movie is what's making people watch it, and it's going to make this film hopefully pretty big because it's something new. It's something that we're all doing right now. Like Roman said, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of movies coming out in the next couple of years about quarantine and about COVID and all that. It's probably going to get old. I don't necessarily know if this movie is going to age well in the next 20 years. That's okay. I mean, I'm sure a lot of the other movies aren't aging well. They'll probably look back on it like we do Slumber Party Massacre or something goofy. You know what I mean? Where you just... I know you both like that movie so much.
I'm wearing the shirt.
I didn't even notice. So yeah, they'll probably make fun of it. But in this time right now, it's very relevant. And I think that's another part that makes it fun.
One thing I wanted to add when you were talking about the not using the jump scares and more the creep factor and how they kind of like threw the jump scares out of the side, they're using more of the stuff that they're using now for the what they call smart horror. Stuff in the background, even though there's going to be stuff in the background, it's not really there unless you really look for it. And I love that. Like at the end of Hereditary, you didn't know the mom was on the ceiling, but if you look a second time, you'll see a lot of different things. And that's kind of how it works on this one too.
Yeah. And watching it with somebody who hadn't watched it, even though I knew what was going to happen, I tried to, because it's going to get a little confusing because you have 6 people. So like right now, people are watching us, there's only 3. But when you have 6 or 7 blocks up there, you're kind of looking at this one because she's talking, but then something might happen in the background of this one. So I'd be like, did you see that? Like, did you catch that? And I like movies like that. I like where you just see this one little thing and then it goes away, a light or something. I don't know. It's smart horror. And the fact that they did that themselves is pretty cool. Why we didn't think of this, I don't know. We could be millionaires right now.
Roman, how you doing down there?
I'm doing okay, Captain. Just adding on, I thought the film, I'll be honest with you, like I watched it as a obligatory watch. You guys wanted me to watch it, so I'm like, okay, fine, I'm going to put it on. So I'm literally writing stuff for our website, cinemadnesspodcast.com, by the way. I'm writing stuff for our website. I'm having it on in the background, and I remember I started paying attention where I'm like, oh, wait, betcha $5 they probably led into that scare. I'm like, hold on, let me put my iPad down real quick and let me take a look. Sure enough, I'm like, okay, all right. You know what? I'm going to put the iPad down. Oh, good. And it's a horrible movie to watch if you still have a kid that has noisy stuff that sometimes moves. Because I'm sitting there, I think it was like 2 o'clock in the morning on my couch, and all of a sudden I hear I'm like, F you, Poltergeist. No, we're not doing this tonight. No.
Those are the worst.
I have loud neighbors that share walls with me, so it's fun. It's fun when you're living alone and you have ghosts in your brain.
For those of you at Listening Land, that's code for he lives in a brothel.
I do. It's the only legal brothel in the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah.
They're not the best looking, but they get the job done.
Yeah. Tried and true. But a couple of jokes that came up to mind. Adam.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. So for those of you who watch the film, there's going to be some 3 jokes that you probably won't get yet, but watch the film and maybe you will. All right? Just saying. So
Roman's jokes for host bingo.
So joke number 3. The male lead in this film really left his girlfriend hanging. Huh? Oh, you'll get it.
I loved him, by the way.
Teddy.
He's great.
Yeah, he was cute. I
love it when he came back and all this shit was going on.
Oh yeah, he's like, "What's going on?" All right, cool.
Brings
whatever.
that marionette in.
He says, "Come on, all you lot, where are you?"
Oh yeah,
everybody's British, but the main girl.
Yes. So joke number 2, you see a killer former FaceTime. Huh? Oh, and joke number 1, and then I'll just let this one lay down and die. Joke number 1, this group can't hold a candle to their hell of a good connection.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to explain them.
No.
Yeah. No, just let them kind of sit. So, anyways, but all in all, I do recommend it, guys. It's only 60 minutes of your time.
Right.
And it's a really simple process. It's very Blair Witch in terms of how simple it is. It's just people hanging out on Zoom making a film. Adam, what was that indie film that came up where the guy was making it all on cell phones?
Was that from Tomorrow?
Was that Van Zant? No.
Oh no, it's
Soderbergh.
It was Soderbergh. It was Unsane.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But also, Escape from Tomorrow was all shot on cell phones in Disney World.
Really?
Yeah, it's a pretty bad movie, but it's still cool that they got away with it.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah,
well.
after Host, Adam watched Searching. Finally.
Oh man.
And I really liked it.
Yeah. Well, we got to talk about that off camera, but
yes.
Yes.
But yeah, overall, I mean, you don't have anything to lose. It's less than 60 minutes. It's like 56 minutes long. And that was the main gripe that I had with the movie because I'm so familiar with Zoom and the features of Zoom. If you don't have Pro, it warns you that your Zoomcast is about to end. And knowing that and seeing up in the corner how many minutes were left, I knew that the movie was about to end. So the last jump scare I saw coming because I knew it was ending. A lot of people probably won't get that, or they probably won't see it. But yeah, that kind of, it's minute, but it kind of was like, aw. That's
Oh, you know, Rebecca and Aliens is my newt.
Oh my God. Okay, on that note, I'm leaving.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. I think that's all we got. Is that right?
Bye.
All right. Well,
Allison's
bye,
outta here.
guys.
Are you leaving too?
No, you want to play checkers?
No, I want you to go.
Okay, fine. Can you blow out your candle, but slowly, and make eye contact, please? Worth it. Worth it. Totally worth it.
Oh man. All right. Let's get this taken care of. Hey out there in listening land, just a reminder to follow us on social media on the following platforms for polls, games, and behind the scenes shenanigans. We love our fans and thank you for keeping us alive by following us and joining our Patreon. Thank you, and let's keep the good vibes going.